Growing up in Jamaica as a child, mental health illness was looked upon as a taboo. Nobody recognized you to have a mental health disorder if you're not stark, raging mad, running naked, eating from the trash can, and just living on the street. And in this case, concerned members of your family will take you to the asylum, or what we will call the Bellevue Hospital in Jamaica. There is only one mental health hospital when I was growing up in Jamaica. And when you are committed in that hospital, you are considered mentally sick, mentally ill. It's like you're having demons inside of you. So just having a simple panic attack or a simple depression or just being worried is not even kind of looked upon as mental health disorder. People will look at you as if you're weak and you need to go and sit down, or you're stupid, or you must be an idiot, you don't know God, you don't go to church. No, guys, healing myself from panic disorder is a true testimony that I went through when I was growing up in Jamaica. And it wasn't an easy one, because Jamaicans look upon mental health disorder as a taboo. So guys, just sit back, relax, listen, and if you like this video, or this video resonates with you, just continue to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on your post notification bell so that you can be notified of more mental health disorder videos that I will be posting in the future. And if this video resonates with you, just share in the comment box of things that you have gone through, and just enlighten me and let me know. And if you have anything that you want to share with me, just let me know so others can read and share with others, so that they can know that not only me alone was going through this, but many other people do go through these situations. Let me put a disclaimer out there. I would like you to know that I am a psychiatric mental health nurse, and I am also a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. I am not functioning as a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner at the moment, because it is very difficult to obtain a practicing physician. I have to work under the license and the supervision of a physician. So it's very difficult to come across that. So presently, I am still functioning as a mental health nurse. I work at the bedside with patients suffering from mental health disorder. And as a practitioner, I just decided to go inactive from the Board of Nursing. But as a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, I'm able to apply myself even more working as a nurse. I'm able to understand what is going on with the patient and able to communicate at a level with the doctor so that the patient can get the best care possible. So let me continue with my story. You cannot tell nobody about mental health disorder in Jamaica, or even if they have somebody in their family with a mental health disorder, they will like disown them, or not in all cases, but some people will look about their family. They will associate their mental health disorder with witchcraft or hobia, or what you call voodoo. They will say somebody harmed their child, put a curse on them. They will never admit that the child has schizophrenia or anxiety disorder or panic attack or depression or nothing like that. The Jamaicans do not associate themselves with mental health disorder readily like that. As a result, a lot of things used to happen in Jamaica, where people used to kill themselves by hanging, or drink a lot, or smoke themselves to a frenzy just to numb the pain. And I can say this now because that is what I was seeing when I was growing up. And I couldn't understand why people used to kill themselves, or why people get so caught up in want to hurt somebody else because of what they're going through. Why there used to be so many domestic violence, why men used to fight in the street, why women used to fight in the street, because there was so much dysfunction, and no one ever associate those behavior with mental health disorders when I was growing up. Growing up in Jamaica as a child, And going to school, I used to be attacked by students, by my own family, got beaten by anybody that they just come up to you and they will just come up in your face and saying had patty for you to box it from their hand, or somebody will push the next person on you and just start to fight for no reason at all because of what they see going on into their home. They will just emulate it when they go out into the communities. And during those times, I used to cry a lot. I used to have what you call panic attacks that I could not understand what it was. I used to feel or have a feeling of doom, a feeling of just dread, feeling like I want to die. I just couldn't understand the feeling, and I used to stop in my track, or I used to just run to distract it. And it was every day at about 5 o'clock in the evening. I used to start having those panic attacks, and it was not a good feeling, and it was so unbearable because I used to dread 5 o'clock coming because I know my panic attack was going to start. My panic attack lasted for about 4 years going, and on and off. And I used to ask my mom because I didn't know what to call it. I didn't know that it was a panic attack. I didn't know how to express to her, but the feeling that I was expressing to her, I said to her one day, Mama, have you ever had feeling of if you want to die or you're going to die and you just feel funny within your body? My mom would look at me and she said, every day, my child, every day. So in my reality, I felt like that feeling was normal for you to have. So what I did was to try to find ways in which I could eliminate those feelings from me. And I realized that learning now during my year going to school and doing my master's and doing my nursing, I realized that you don't run away from the panic attack. You try to embrace it, feel it, I faced it head on. But when I was growing up, I didn't face my panic attack. And I realized I started having panic attacks when I went to nursing school and realized what panic attacks were. And I said, oh, so that is what I was having. That is what I'm having and how to deal with it. But by the time I was in nursing school, I didn't have panic attacks anymore because I had worked on myself, helped myself without even understanding what I was doing. I realized that having distracted my mind from the situation, I felt better. So I used to get up in the mornings and prepare myself, whether prepare my breakfast or do whatever I have to do, clean my room. And what I used to do was to lay on my back and I used to close my eyes and start to sing, hum, or tell myself a story. The panic attacks happen so often, especially if I go to a funeral where I have to view a body, or somebody in my family got killed or died, or there is disruption with my brothers and sisters, they're fighting, or my father used to fight with my mother. I realized that the panic attacks become often during those times in my life. So what I will do is to lay on my bed, close my eyes, and start telling myself a story. And in this way, I realized that the feelings start to subside. Just start to go away. So I do this every day, especially when it comes to about 5 o'clock in the evening. I would just lay on my bed and start telling myself a story. And in this way, I will distract myself from the horrible feeling of doom and dread that I was having, the feeling of me wanting to die. Because I was having panic attacks, I was having shortness of breath, my heart was beating fast, my arms and hands were sweaty and cold. My mouth was dry and I just didn't know how to control it. I felt so bad. I just didn't know what to do. And at that time, I didn't want to die either. So I was thinking about dying, and my panic attack becomes an anxiety attack also, because all of that feeling come together, it was just so dread for me. So I've been doing that for over a period of time. I form an addiction in talking to myself and telling myself stories, to the point where I wasn't having anxiety disorder anymore. I was having a feeling of wanting to always tell myself a story, and telling myself a story over and over and over and over again in my head, to the point where whenever I am in school and the teacher will ask me to, do a composition on a story about anything, I will be able to just write a story without even thinking, because those stories were already in my mind that I keep playing over and over and over and over in my head. And I started getting a lot of backlash from people, because I will sit there, or I will be walking on the street at a certain times, and I will just start telling myself stories like once upon a time in the country of America or something. It is always a story about an happy ending, about how this prince will come and see me and take me into his arms and give me one of the most beautiful life. Or one story I can remember when I started, it was um, Jimmy Parks, after going to the party feeling happy and carefree, was on his way home. He presses his foot on the gas and send the car at 150 miles per hour. I was dramatic. 150 miles per hour when he hit on something. When he came out of his car, to his astonishment, there was a beautiful young girl lying in the middle of the road, and that beautiful young girl was me. And that made me feel so good. So I keep telling myself these stories, and people around me used to think I was crazy. They used to say, "Move away from here, you're crazy. Move away from here, you're talking to yourself." They used to say, "Miss Francis," which is my mom, they used to say, "Miss Francis, your daughter is talking to herself." And people used to, just mock me just by talking to myself. But I didn't care about being mocked. I've cared about the feeling that I was getting when I was telling myself the story, to the point where I felt healed within myself. And guys, I'm telling you, I didn't know what I was doing, but the feeling of me telling myself this story made me feel so good. I continued doing it for some time until I start going back to school to become a nurse, and that is when I stopped telling myself this story. But I can tell you this, it really helped me to heal myself. It put me at a place of health and wellness. I also started singing, and I used to sing to myself every day and just put myself in this sweet mood and this sweet trance of singing. And if it's not from telling myself a story, it's singing something. So, guys, so I know within my heart that I had done myself well. And the dysfunction kept happening around me, with my brothers and sisters and my mom and my dad. Within the community, it was a revolving cycle of madness that was happening around me. And I realized that me continuing to tell myself these stories and continuing to sing, I was able to distract myself, and I found peace within myself, to the point where I am the only one in my family that was able to go back to school and to be successful and to survive the trauma and the tragedy of dysfunctionality within a home. I can tell you this, that it wasn't easy. It was a very hard journey, because I still had, or I would say I'm still having the dysfunctionality within me, where I will get hangry, like, because they say in life that children live what they learn. Teach them the way to love in their heart, because they will find out in the world. If a child lives with criticism, he learns to condemn. If a child lives with hostility, he learns how to fight. And if a child lives with love, he will find love in the world. So those things resonates with me. So I am able to offer those things to my children and grow them separately and apart from my family, to the point where I don't even take my kids to meet my family. My sisters and brothers are left in Jamaica, and my daughter would say to me, "Mom, why didn't you introduce me to my uncle, or why you didn't introduce me to my aunt?" And the reasons for that, I didn't want them to go through that same dysfunction, because they're going to deal with my kids without respect, and my kids is gonna be maybe start responding back to them in that same shape and form, and that is something that I fear and dread, because I didn't want them to go through the same thing that was happening to me. So guys, this is my story about how I healed myself from panic attacks, even though I didn't know what I was doing, but it sure did help me to cope with my anxiety disorder. But guys, you know, mental illness is not something that should be taken lightly. We all go through some form of mental illness or mental health disorder, whether we believe it or not. God, just living on the daily and having to cope with life and life stressors, we have to deal with all that. And I identify myself with a lot of patient that is going through a lot of trauma, and I just sit there and I just listen when they talk, and take notes and understand, and take that information back to the doctor in order to help my patient to cope with what they are going through. Because if you don't live the experience, it's kind of hard for you to try to understand what others are going through. You have to have that feeling of empathy and wanting to help that person without being judgmental, because mental health is awesome. When you have a good mental health and you can function on a wellness level, you're at your best at all times. And anytime you have any form of problem when it comes to where your mental health is affected, that can affect everything that is happening around you. So guys, if you like this video that I am presenting to you now, and you want more of this type of video, continue to like, share, subscribe to my video, turn on your post notification bell so that you can be notified of more videos to come. And remember, take care of your mental health, because it is very, very important, because without your mental health you will not be able to function effectively in terms of anything that is happening around you, whether it would be family relationship, whether it be finance, whether it be working in the job, whether it be going to school, whether it be socializing with others. And that is why a lot of people don't get along with each other within these different entities, because we don't understand all about mental health, and that mental health disorder is a serious issue. So guys, continue to like, share, subscribe to my channel, turn on your post notification bell so that you can be notified of more videos to come. Have a good day.